Today, the Mona Lisa is the most recognized painting on Earth, an image so ubiquitous it has become a shorthand for art itself. Yet for the first 400 years of its existence, the general public was almost entirely unaware that the portrait even existed. Leonardo da Vinci began the work in 1503, pouring his mastery into every layer of paint. But his reputation alone was not enough to make the portrait a cultural phenomenon. The painting's rise to global prominence was triggered by a jarring security breach that temporarily erased the physical object from the world. During its early centuries, the Mona Lisa was a private treasure, hidden away in French royal palaces and shielded from the eyes of the common people. It was a niche obsession for the powerful. In 1800, Napoleon Bonaparte found the woman's expression so compelling that he hung the painting in his personal bedroom. Even after it moved to the Louvre in 1804, it remained obscure. While the museum was open to the public, the portrait was largely ignored by everyone except a small circle of critics and artists. Some were driven to extremes. In 1852, an artist named Luc Maspero jumped from the roof of a Paris hotel, leaving a suicide note that cited the mysterious smile of the painting as the cause of his despair. The status quo shattered on August 21, 1911. Painter Louis Beroud arrived at the Louvre to sketch the masterpiece, but found only 4 bare hooks and a rectangle of dust on the wall. Because the painting had been so consistently overlooked, the act of disappearing became the most attention-grabbing event in its history. The man responsible was Vincenzo Peruggia, an Italian handyman who decided to take the painting back to Italy himself. The heist was remarkably simple. On a Sunday evening, Peruggia hid inside a small Louvre storage closet, waiting for the museum to close. On Monday morning, he wore a white staff apron to blend in with the maintenance crew. He walked to the wall, lifted the 8-kilogram wooden panel, and moved toward the exit. Peruggia nearly got caught when he reached a locked stairwell door. He was trapped inside with the heavy painting, until a museum plumber, assuming he was an employee, used his key to let him out. This low-tech escape succeeded because the museum's security was built on the assumption that no one would ever bother to steal this specific portrait. The theft was so unexpected that it took 24 hours for the Louvre staff to even realize the painting was gone. They assumed it had been moved for cleaning or photography. When the reality set in, the French government mobilized 60 of its best detectives and fired the museum's director in a desperate attempt to recover the work. As news of the crime spread, thousands of people who had never spared the painting a glance suddenly rushed to the Louvre. They stood in long lines specifically to look at the empty space on the wall. Some even left flowers, mourning the loss of a painting they never previously cared to see. The empty frame proved more fascinating than the artwork itself, demonstrating how mystery and absence can drive human curiosity. The timing of the theft coincided with the birth of modern mass media. Newspapers across the globe were hungry for a sensational story. When the New York Times ran the story on its front page, it pushed a local Parisian crime into the international consciousness. For 2 years, the press printed her face alongside every update. Through constant repetition, her features became permanently etched into the public mind. People with no prior interest in the Renaissance suddenly knew the name and face of this specific painting, making it a familiar presence in homes worldwide. This period of intense global media coverage fundamentally altered the painting's status, transforming it from a museum artifact into a cultural landmark. The mystery ended 2 years later in Florence, where Peruggia was arrested while trying to sell the painting to an Italian art dealer. When the Mona Lisa returned to the Louvre, it was met by massive crowds who viewed the canvas as a celebrity survivor. They were no longer there just for the art. They were there for the story. The drama of the heist had become inseparable from the paint on the panel, ensuring that it would never be seen as a simple portrait again. The events of 1911 show that the most effective way to make the world value an object is to take it away, creating a lasting legacy through the sheer power of absence.